I.S.E show. I'm normally at the Bass Pro Shop booth, but right now I'm with Kent Brown. And Kent Brown does all this stuff you see at the I.S.E show. So we're going to ask him some questions. How long have you been doing this, Kent?
Well, for the International Sportsman's Exposition for 30 years.
Oh!
Been on tour with them, spoke at most all of their shows, really with the exception of Denver and Salt Lake City. You know, we have a lot less shows than we did a few years back, but you know, we would do Pomona, we'd do San Mateo, Sacramento, obviously here in Phoenix. I've done all 3 locations in Phoenix, the Fairgrounds,
wow.
Cardinal Stadium, and now here at Westworld.
Well, one of the questions people always ask me is, where do you get the fish from?
Yeah,
Where do they come from?
Well, we get asked that a lot, and you know, a lot of people wonder if we haul the tank with the water in it and the fish in it and all the other stuff. So this is actually Jim Edwards' tank out of Colorado. It comes out of the Denver, Colorado area. And Jared Edwards, his son, you know, was a Bassmaster Elite Series angler for years. And so Jim has had these tanks for, gosh, I guess now about 15 years. And that's kind of what we do is we bring it in. It really depends on where we're at. I got to tell you, these are pretty small bass we've got, but they've come from a fish farm that they're kind of letting us use the fish, and they're raising bass and bluegill. Now, the California Delta is where we get them for our Sacramento show.
Oh, wow.
Gary, let me tell you, this year we had the biggest fish we had in the tank was right at 13 pounds. We had 6 over 10.
Oh, wow.
And we had, I don't know, 45 fish in the tank. The smallest one was about 3.5 pounds. But I mean, we had just a ton of, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pounders out of the California Delta.
Well, I guess last year when I was here doing the tank and stuff, we had a lot bigger fish. So
yeah.
I was interested in where the fish came from. Are they from Arizona or Colorado?
No, I'm not positive on the Arizona fish. That's the one thing I don't have to do. I book you guys. I don't have to book the fish. They, you guys are a lot harder to book than the fish, you know.
I guess so.
Yeah, no,
know.
absolutely.
So the guy from Colorado brings the tank in.
They bring the tank in and set it up, and
wow.
And then, you know, it travels all over. He does a lot of county fairs with it. He does a lot of festivals with it, from everything from music festivals to fairs and different promotions with the tank. So it travels all over.
Oh, wow. So you live in Northern California, Sacramento area?
Yeah, Sacramento area. And, you know, 2 hours I'm backing in the water at Clear Lake, and in about 50 minutes I'm backing in the water in the California Delta, plus all of our awesome spotted bass lakes that we have.
So one of the neatest things that you got to do or have done in the past is go to the Classic.
Yeah, the Bassmaster Classic.
Oh, wow.
And it was cool. I was there last weekend. You know, we were at Greenville, South Carolina at the Bassmaster Classic, and it was awesome. You know, it was just so much fun. And this morning on my radio show, you know, we talked about the top 3 things I got to do. And one of them was I got to get pulled into the arena on Sunday, 10,000 people packed, right?
Yeah.
And I got to be pulled into the arena in a brand new Triton boat. And we were throwing hats and rods out. I went in with Bassmaster Classic champ Boyd Duckett.
Oh,
and
wow.
So Triton asked Boyd and I to do that. And yet, you know, I mean, we didn't have any fish in the live well, but you sure got to experience what it feels like to get pulled into that arena. And, you know, Don Day introduced you. We had a great time with it. It was fun. And
wow.
That was obviously one of the really cool things I got to do.
So that arena holds about 10,000
people?
Yeah,
I think that was about
10,000
was what they had in there. And it was packed. Last week was the best attended Bassmaster Classic ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was really fun. The outdoor show, it's, you know, it's a who's who. Everybody in the business is there, and that was part. So after we got pulled through the arena at the Classic, the second coolest thing I got to do, now you being a Nitro guy, you'll appreciate this, and he's a good friend of mine, but in the sponsor suite, I stood like this for about an hour and a half with KVD and hung out and talked to Kevin Van Dam, and we watched the weigh-in together. So.
What do you think about Jordan Lee winning the second year in a row?
You know, he's an amazing young fisherman and such a great talent. You know, unfortunately, probably overshadowing his brother a little bit. You know, I mean, his brother Matt was 4th, and at a great tournament.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and obviously really happy for Jordan. He's a teammate with Strike King, you know, with me, and I know that's great for us business-wise to be able to have a winner, you know, throwing Strike King baits for us is a great deal. But also kind of sad to see my friend Brent Ayler not win. You know, only a pound and finishing 2nd at the Classic. You know, he was 3rd at the Classic last year. You know, Brent's gonna win one, but darn, I thought he was going to do it this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was close.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it really was.
Yeah, who'd have thought Jason Christie was going to catch 4 fish on the final day?
I know it.
I mean,
I know. It did so good for the first 2-3 days.
Yeah,
and,
that really makes a big difference. I got to tell you, one more thing at the Classic I got to do.
Okay.
And he's a dear friend. I've known him. He actually copied the colors of my boat years ago for his boat, and he still laughs about it. But got to hang out for about 20 minutes. One of my fishing heroes was Hank Parker. So we got to hang out with Hank backstage before we went through the arena and visit with him a little bit and catch up. So it was great to see Hank, and his first question's, how's D Thomas? Wants to know how D is. So
wow.
it was a lot of fun. He's very fond of D, and coming to the Delta, he liked coming out there and fishing.
That's neat. One thing about Matt and I being the Bass Pros for the Bass Pro Shop, we get all those guys that come to the Bass Pro Shop. So over the 12 years we've been with them, we've had Alton Jones come in after he won the Classic.
Right.
The next year, Kevin Van Dam won the Classic, gosh, Jimmy Houston's been there. All of them, have come in and spent time with them and talked to them.
Kevin's awesome. I mean, he's such a professional and so much fun to hang out with. Now, Houston will get you in trouble. Jimmy got me in trouble a few years ago in San Mateo because he climbed up on the tank with some live hooks and he started catching them. And the guy that was running the tank at that point in time, he wasn't very happy with Jimmy. And he told me to crawl up there and tell Jimmy Houston to stop catching fish. That was the one thing I didn't do. I said, that's Jimmy Houston up there. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm going to let him catch all the ones he wanted. So he came down off the tank, and the guy said, were you catching those fish? Jimmy said, no, I wasn't. They wouldn't bite. What do you think I was doing wrong? And he walked off. So, typical Jimmy Houston,
I got to go to the Big Cedar Lodge this year in September.
Yes.
And that was a real treat. Spent a week there. I was with Jimmy Houston for a day over there and got to see a lot of guys. And it was really neat to go to the shows in there. And I miss going to the Wonders of the World, that museum.
Wonders of Wildlife. Wonders of Wildlife, if you haven't been there. We got to go through it. It was maybe a few months before it was actually completed, but it was about 80% done. So you could obviously see all the great displays.
Neat.
I mean, it's great to get to go to the original Bass Pro in Springfield and visit.
Oh yeah.
But if you get an opportunity to go back and see the Wonders of Wildlife Museum, Johnny's done a really phenomenal job with it.
Jimmy was telling me all about the Wonders of the World, or
Wonders of Wildlife,
right? And they were all going there. The Thursday night, it was going to open to the public on Friday.
Yes.
So everybody went to that premiere showing that night. And then we flew home on Friday, and guess who was on the plane? Kevin Van Dam's wife and Z.
Sherry and Z.
Sherry and Z, yeah. We're on the plane, so I got to talk to those two in the airport.
Well, Sherry's normally there to keep Mark from getting in trouble. That's kind of the cool thing.
Yeah.
But, it's really neat. One of the things in the Wonders of Wildlife Museum is it's given the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame a home. I mean, it always had kind of bounced around a little bit in Birmingham and different places. But Johnny devoted one hall at the Wonders of Wildlife Museum to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's really great that it has not only the International Game Fish Association Hall of Fame, but the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame as well has a home there in the museum. So that's really cool.
That is cool. I can't wait to go back. I don't know if I'll make it back this year or next year or something like that, you know. So, do you get to fish in Arizona at all? Have you ever fished here at all?
I have, yeah. No,
or no?
I have fished in Arizona a little bit. I mean, we go back to like the mid 80s. So much influence from the anglers here, in Arizona. Art Price was such a dear friend, and loved Art to death. And met Floyd Prees the first time I ever did a show here in the mid 80s, where I met Art Chamberlain. We were, 21, 22. There was some other young, hot kid down here catching all the fish. John Murray, I don't know, you might have heard of him.
I heard of him.
Yeah, you might have heard of him.
Yeah, I heard of John Murray.
So John and I have been, since the day we met in 1985, doing shows down here. John and I have been very dear friends, and see him and Amy and TJ when we can, and communicate. And he does the radio show, so we have a lot of fun with him. And Ted Miller, I don't know if you remember Ted Miller or not.
I know Ted very well.
Ted Miller taught me about the 1-ounce football head.
Yep.
I was passing through, going to Elephant Butte, New Mexico for a Redman Regional, mid 80s. And Ted pulled me aside and he gave me a handful of 1-ounce football jigs, and he said, "You're going to need these at Elephant Butte." And he kind of turned me on to fishing the one time. So.
Yeah, he turned me on to Roosevelt Lake.
Yeah.
Same thing, because he lived right there in Globe Superior area.
Yeah.
And showed me how to do the 1 ounce, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, that was cool, and then, you know, man, watching some of these guys that have done seminars for us at the shows over the years develop into Bassmaster Elite Series pros. You guys like Brett Hyde. I mean, what a phenomenal fisherman B. Hyde is now, and you know what, he's so versatile, and he's been around. He's a veteran now. You know, I mean, Brett was just a kid following John around, you know, for a long time.
Josh Bertrand's another one.
Josh Bertrand, Clifford Perch.
Oh yeah.
You know, those anglers from Arizona, they're such great fishermen, and you know, I mean, obviously Jay Yellis, who lives in Corvallis, but he spent his fair share of time down here in Arizona as well.
So I don't know, is Dean Rojas still live in Lake Havasu?
Yeah, I think Dean's still in Havasu as well. So
is he?
Yeah, he's
another good guy.
And his son now is fishing tournaments at Lake Havasu.
Is he really?
Yeah, running one of Dean's boats, and
oh my gosh,
fishing tournaments over there as well. So it's kind of cool to see the evolution, and these kids come along, and you know, they're the step up and start fishing tournaments.
So how many demonstrations, since you live in California, how many times where do you go and take this? How many do you do a year?
Well, you know, the good part is I don't have to go anywhere with the tank. I just show up with it, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, normally I'm doing anywhere between, you know, 40 and 60 presentations a year on the tank. I don't know how many I've done in my career on a demo tank. I was with Joe Uribe's sister, Rachel, did her first one in Long Beach a couple weeks ago, and I told her she probably had about 1,400 to catch up. So that was a lot of fun. But you know, with the radio show, we get a lot of exposure. 50,000 watt AM station. We're in 3 of the major media markets in the country with the show. You know, with Sacramento, Stockton, and the San Francisco Bay Area. It's kind of all our reach of where we're at with the show. And so I host my Ultimate Bass radio show. It's the only all bass fishing radio show. We say in the West, like West Oklahoma, it's the only all bass fishing radio show. There's a lot of shows, but they deal with a lot of multi-species. They deal with hunting, they deal with saltwater, and I do host co-host a 2-hour show that we do all of that as well, called California Sportsman, and I do that with you know, Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame member Sepp Hendrickson, and I do that show. So we do 3 hours every Saturday.
Oh my gosh! So you get around a lot. I want to thank you, Ken, for coming, for letting us fish in your private dock right here.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's great. We did a great show this morning with Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's.
Yeah.
We've met together now. We have the same boats in each showroom.
Yes.
And we did a great show with them, the managers of each of the boat shows. Boating
well, we're
departments.
we're kind of I guess we're kind of like that crazy cousin Eddie with Triton, you know. But we're all part of the White River Marine family: Nitro, Ranger, Tracker, and Triton.
Oh, wow.
And so we're all part of the White River Marine family. And you know, we're all running Mercury-powered boats, and really exciting to see. There's some new things in the horizon in the boating industry that we're not allowed to talk about yet, but we're real excited, and we're gonna see some great things.
Right, I think we are. But anyway, I just want to say thank you. I think it's a great show. You do a great job. I was here for the VIP night last night, and you were talking and explaining stuff to everybody, and we just had my wife and I had a wonderful time meeting you and coming here. So a lot of great people here.
Thank you, Gary. It's fun to do your show, and hopefully everybody will make it out to International Sportsman's Expo, whether we're here, Denver, Salt Lake City, or Sacramento. It's a great show.
That's why we're putting this out, just to show people that can't make it how much fun it is.
Yeah.
We went over in the other building and we watched the dogs jump, and we showed a lot of little things, and that's what it's about, coming here, seeing all your fellow fishermen around. And
we've had a bunch of old fishermen up there on the tank today. We're going to get some new ones. We're going to get some high school fishermen up there even now. So trying to spread it through the generations.
I see one coming.
There you go.
So anyway, thanks, Vlad. Thank you guys for watching the show with Fishing with Gary, and we'll have more for you at a later time.
Can we do this on the water next?
Yeah.
We'll go fishing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, we can.